and time for our newest edition of Coffee with the Candidate with your candidate for Arkansas State Senate District 1, Ronetta Francis. First of all, and that's me, Ronetta Francis. First off, let me apologize for the late start. We were supposed to kick off our coffee at 9:30, and I'm so sorry if I missed a lot of people or any people at all. We were having significant technical delays with our upcoming guest, Mrs. Kanosha Grigsby, one of our preeminent public school teachers here in Northwest Arkansas at Rogers High School, and can't figure out for the life of us why the link that we've used in the past 5, 6 broadcasts is problematic today. So she's continuing to troubleshoot. Her husband is continuing to troubleshoot. It's an all-out, circus, but that's what happens when you go live, right? So she has such great insight and such great tips that I wanted to devote and make sure we devoted a significant amount of our time today to the information that she was going to share, that she is going to share, because I believe it. I believe we're going to make this happen today. So we spent a lot of time preparing exactly, for the content today, because I think it's really, really relevant with her being an educator to provide some insight on what her experiences have been and currently are during the pandemic as an educator, as she is helping her students and the parents of her students acclimate to this new learning environment, and sharing what some of her experiences have been, some of the highs and some of the lows, some frustrations, and offering some really solid tips for you parents out there who are really working to educate your kids and supplement your kids' education at home through remote learning, through distance learning, so many different terminologies, and some of the highs and lows that you guys can experience, and just to kind of help facilitate that, since we're almost near the end of the official school year. So has some really great tips from Mrs. Grigsby as for your parents, as well as some advice to our high school seniors who are about to officially graduate, class of 2020, but unfortunately aren't able to participate in a lot of the typical rites of passage that are that folks have become accustomed to when graduating from high school in your senior year, be it prom, maybe it's a senior trip, it's graduation. All of these things have been put on hold or canceled altogether. So it's a trying time for so many of us, and Mrs. Grigsby has such a dynamic personality and such a flair with positivity and enthusiasm that her tips, I think, would inspire and empower you teachers out there, you parents out there, and you students out there. So if you, fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll be able to connect with her just in a second. So what I'll say, good morning, Shelley. How are you? Shelley, if any of you got a chance to check out a post earlier this week, you saw an art piece that Shelley created after one of our candidate Coffee with the Candidate chats. And I have to tell you, when she told me she was going to do it, I was like, okay, sure. And then when I saw it, I was just overwhelmed. And I think I did post that I cried big, ugly tears, which is what I told her, because I was just so overwhelmed with the work that she did and the inspiration and the resulting piece. And I just wanted to share it with all of you, the work that she's done, and to thank you again, Shelley, for sharing your talents with the campaign, for sharing your talents with the world, and for allowing us to collaborate and hopefully continue to collaborate in the future on maybe some additional things. So good morning, Shelley. Hi, Kate. Kate is on this morning too. So I just wanted to say good morning. I think, let's see, I'm going to check. No, we don't have Kenosha. Let's see how I can continue to share. So since we've got a little bit of time, good morning. My Aunt Veranda is on. Good morning, Aunt Veranda, tuning in from Alabama. One of the things, and it's so funny, she's becoming quite adept with technology. Our family hosted um, a remote or birthday party for one of my first cousins last night. And so we had cousins and aunts and nieces and nephews and friends and whatnot from all over logging into Zoom to wish my cousin Erica, who I've talked about in the past, who's a physician and on the front line during this pandemic, to wish her a very happy birthday. And oh, Sarah Drain is on. Good morning, Sarah. Sarah has the unique distinction of having the campaign t-shirts in the tiniest sizes we've ever created. She has two small girls and she wanted campaign shirts for her girls. And I think they're in 2T and 4T. And when I tell you it's the cutest thing you've ever seen is to see those little baby girls in those t-shirts. And I just appreciate Sarah for your commitment to the campaign and continuing to invest in your girls in particular and empower them to follow different political campaigns, to support other people who are running, particularly women, and to show them that they can do anything. So thank you so much, Sarah, for your support. India, India Simone, how are you, darling? Congratulations to you again. Let's see. I think Kenosha. Um, I cannot see you, Kenosha. I know you say you're waiting to be added. Let's see if
Okay. Is that it? Can you hear me?
you're not coming through yet, Kenosha. I'm not sure what's happening, but keep working on it. And as soon as um, I see you pop up, I'll pop you into the screen. Um, Good morning, Myra. Myra McKenzie Harris, friend and colleague and sorority sister and link sister and fellow attorney in Georgia. Waiting patiently. We're waiting patiently on a very nice surprise at the end of this month. So, best wishes to you, Myra, and to your family, and just sending all good things to you and yours. Um, So, Myra, I think you're in Georgia right now, if that's correct. Tell me how you can see and hear Kenosha? Really? How can you all see and hear her and I can't? What is she saying? This is going to be a team effort, you guys. We're going to figure this thing out. Kate says she can hear Kenosha. She heard her for a bit. I don't see her at all. She popped up for a second and went away. Thanks, Aunt Veranda. We're all going to troubleshoot this thing together. I love this team effort. We're going to work together to get her on, which is fantastic because the information that she has to share is phenomenal. And she's an amazing person. And if you don't know her, you're going to want to know her and get to know her, and you'll just be thrilled. So I'm ready to be added. Kanosha, I'm going to send you another link altogether, and let's just see if the new one works better. So try disconnect from what you had before, Kenosha, and try the link that I just sent, because I think what may have happened, the link from earlier was for the 9:30 broadcast, and since we didn't start at 9:30, may have disconnected. So try the link I just sent, and let's see if that cures the problem. Good morning, Beth. How are you? I hope all is well. So I was going to say, Myra, you're in Georgia, and I realized that the governor there has made some pretty um, bold and ambitious statements as it relates to reopening the economy in Georgia. And you have any feedback or any statements on your feelings about what you intend to do once these restrictions have been lifted as it relates to sheltering in place, social isolation, physical distancing? Okay, it says you're ready to join. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Kanosha says she's back. Does anyone else see her, or does everyone else see her except for me?
Okay, is that it, or is that it? I can see
So
you.
when
And
I
my
when I
screen is
pop
split.
this up, yeah, Myra, I can imagine that you're going to continue to shelter in place. Hi, Tracy. How are you? Good morning, Tracy. Also, another Georgian, former Arkansan for a bit. So Kenosha can see me and hear me.
Okay.
I can do neither. I cannot see her or hear her.
Can the audience hear me?
Other people seem to be able to see you, Kenosha. I don't know how we're going to have a conversation
I don't
if
know. Can the audience hear me?
everyone else but can see Kenosha but me. It's not fair. Okay,
Can your
so
audience hear me?
why don't we
Can your
do
audience
this
hear me?
way? Because uh,
Okay, so the people can
okay,
hear
great. So
me.
we
I
can,
don't know
everyone
what's
else
going
can
on.
see and hear Kenosha. I'm in the dark.
Yeah,
I don't know how this is working. So what I'm going to do is,
I can call
Kenosha,
you and
I've told everyone about who you are, what you do here in Northwest Arkansas, and and the information that we plan to share today. So what we're going to do, we're going to be very, very flexible and adaptable with this. Even though I can't see you or hear you, I'm going to ask you a few questions, give you some time to respond, and then we're just going to see how well this works with me going kind of in the dark. So so I just hope this works. I'm sure it will, but you
I
know,
can hear you.
we're going to see
I
how
can
this
hear you.
works. So Kenosha, one of the things that I know has been a challenge for um, for all of us deals with how we're taking care of of our of our children and continuing to try to educate our children during this pandemic. And with you
Mhm.
being an educator here in Northwest Arkansas in the public school system, can you just give us a day in the life or some of your experiences since the schools have been closed? Has it been easier, harder? What are some of the challenges that you face as it relates to continuing to stay connected with your students, and how you're helping to support the parents as they are now trying to educate their kids at home?
So one of the challenges with teaching through a digital platform is having to.
Your students.
Okay, I think she. I
And
think.
how you're helping to
Okay.
support the parents as they are now trying to educate their kids at home.
Okay. So one of the challenges that is communicating with students through a digital platform is trying to say all the things you have to say without being hands-on and seeing the students in person. So I teach high school, and it's easy for high school kids, I think, right now to become disengaged and disconnected from the classroom. And so the challenge for me and other secondary teachers is keeping students engaged, keeping them encouraged and motivated to complete the work and to continue with their learning, because um, we would have spent a total of 10 weeks doing AMI work through a digital platform. And 10 weeks, that's an entire quarter of a school year. And so that's a lot of time for kids to not have person to person contact. And so one thing that I've been doing is creating systems for my students to stay connected through Google Classroom and through other uh, digital resources. And so I've spent a lot of time um, researching a lot of the digital resources that are available, because, in a traditional classroom setting, aside from Google Classroom, I've not really had to use a lot of the things that are out there. But through my own research, I've found several resources to stay connected with my students. And so um, it's making us consider education from another perspective, and it's been good. Not, I mean, it's not. It hasn't been all bad. It hasn't been all bad. So yeah. So I don't. Can you hear me? I think it's delayed a little bit.
Mhm. What would you say, Kenosha, has been okay, so to give everyone an update, I have joined the Facebook Live on my phone, which is why I was looking down, so that at least I could see Kenosha and hear Kenosha. I think there's a significant delay, but it's better than talking to the blue screen. So I think we're making progress. And I was able to hear your the
Okay,
last
good,
part of your response.
good.
So the next thing I'd like to ask is, how have you been supporting the parents? What advice would you have for the parents as they are adopting to this new normal, as it relates to right now, in providing education for their students?
So I have a unique perspective because I'm a mom and a teacher. So I have a kindergartner, and I teach high school. So I'm experiencing both avenues. And so I don't have any experience teaching elementary, and that's a whole different world for me. So having to work with my daughter,
She can't hear me.
whose teacher sends a significant amount of work daily, and they have to participate in Zoom calls. We've allowed Blake to have breaks in the day, and some days we skip. We don't, try to force her into a tight schedule, because this has upended her world significantly. And so, for my elementary moms and dads, I would encourage them to be a little bit flexible in their scheduling with their littles, and let them have a little bit of downtime, and and several breaks throughout the day. And so we don't, and I probably shouldn't say this, but we don't make Blake do schoolwork every day. So she'll probably do schoolwork like 3 days a week, because and we just submit it all on Friday. And I've already had that conversation with her teacher, so she knows. And so we don't tie ourselves to such a strict schedule, because my husband is here working and I'm here working. And so we don't, it's cumbersome, or well, not cumbersome. It's challenging to try to manage her and what she needs to do. So we are a little bit more relaxed. As it relates to high school students, though, I would encourage parents to encourage their students, their high schoolers and college level students, to stay as disciplined as possible and to try to keep a schedule, because in high school, the work will pile up really quickly and
Mm.
students are overwhelmed. And so, you know, that'll be, that's the hard part. So just with elementary age kids, let them have a little bit more flexibility. With your secondary students, I would encourage them to maintain a little bit more discipline. So that's my sage advice.
Mm.
Okay. Well,
You also created some very, I think, really, really helpful tips for success, and I put them up on the screen. Do you want to go over some of them? You kind of covered just then, but some of the ones like be kind to yourselves and encouraging the students to stay engaged. What more would you say about that to the parents?
so one of the things, so for Arkansas, we received, well, for my district, we received a directive, and I think it may be like this for the rest of the districts in the area and probably across the state. Students' grades cannot be lowered. So if your high school student finished the third quarter with a nice grade or decent grade, that grade cannot be lowered, per what we're doing in my district in Rogers. So, again, just help kids stay engaged. I've been having conversations with parents about encouraging their students to read and to not consume so much television, and to, look into finding new outlets for, their creativity during this time, because our ability to get out and socialize is um, limited. I've encouraged students and parents to journal through this, because this is a historical time that we're going through. I think of it like, what students must have lived through going through the Great Depression or other global disasters or situations. And so I encourage kids to find a means by which they can filter through their emotions and how they're feeling, because this has been a shock to the system, being, being pulled out of school, and all of their social activities uh, have been brought to a screeching halt, especially those seniors who are struggling with, trying to uh, find a creative means to experience their rite of passage. They're not going to get prom, they're not going to get to graduate, and those are really big things. And so um, I have just been encouraging students to create another way to celebrate themselves in this time, especially for seniors. Find another means of celebration,
Mm.
and just prepare for the next level, And so and for parents to find a way, especially for our seniors, find a way to celebrate your seniors without harping so much on the negative, side of them not being able to graduate or participate in commencement. They will graduate, they won't get a chance to participate in commencement, which is the same. So that's another way to look at that. So they will get their degree, they will, graduate high school, they just won't get a chance to participate in commencement. So I think that if parents uh, add a positive spin to it, then the kids won't absorb so much of the
Mhm.
negative aspect of it. So I think it's so important for us parents to really keep our kids
Of what they
encouraged with
post. Yes.
positivity.
Mm.
Okay, I think, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. I think that is tremendous. And one of the things I wanted to make sure that we were able to convey is that this is a season. It's a blip, and it doesn't define your entire existence. And even
Mhm.
if the seniors, aren't able to participate there in the traditional rites of passage, there are other ways that they can celebrate their achievements and should be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Kate Schaefer
Absolutely.
is on, and she and her family celebrated a remote prom
Oh,
for their daughter Jenna, to give her an opportunity to dress up in the pretty dress and to just feel kind of special for that moment, even though it wasn't the traditional prom that she had really um, looked forward to.
yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to do is to just acknowledge Kenosha, you and others, on the work that you do day to day, before the pandemic and throughout this pandemic, and going forward. The role of educators has really been brought to the forefront, and
Mhm.
the value that the just immense value that they serve,
Mhm.
and the amount of patience that
Mhm.
you all must have on a day-to-day basis to be able to provide instruction and nurture and education and information and guidance and accountability on a daily basis to so many students. And the internet was overcome with memes and graphics and videos of parents just pulling their hair out the
Yeah.
first week that folks were educating their kids at home. And I think Shonda Rhimes even said that after this, teachers need to be paid at least $1 million a week.
That
So
would be nice.
um,
That would be so nice.
please know that public education and making sure we're providing a significant investment in our public school systems is a significant and signature pillar of my platform. It's really, really important to make sure
Mhm.
that our future generation of Arkansans are prepared. Our students are ready and equipped to take on and be competitive in the marketplace of the future, and that
Absolutely.
our teachers
Absolutely.
feel supported, that they feel
Mhm.
valued, that they have the resources that they need, the support that they
Mhm.
require, and the compensation that they so richly deserve to be able to continue pouring into our children, pouring
Mhm.
into our students, pouring into our future. So thank you so much for everything that you do, and thank you
I'd like to
for
add.
the years
Oh,
that you've committed to Northwest Arkansas, and for the multiple lives that you've changed as a result of that. And please know that I will continue to fight to ensure um, that we bring our education up to another level, that we continue to um, feed into, invest into our future through our educators and for our students. Anything you want to say, particularly on that part? Oh,
oh
she said
yeah.
she want to add one more thing. Yes.
Um, so I think it's important moving forward to um, teaching is a hard job, and we are trained to do this. I've been teaching. This is the end of my 18th year in the classroom, and so we are trained to deal with children. And during this time, parents are really feeling some, are challenged having to have their kids at home all day, um, in the stress of having to still work from home. Some parents are still having to work from home. So again, I want to reiterate how important it is for parents to be kind to themselves and to not try to be so rigid. But moving forward, I would encourage parents to enter the classroom next year with the mindset that you're partnering with your child's students, with your child's teacher. And it's always better. My mom used to always say, you can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. And so I would encourage parents, when your student is having an issue, uh, you know, be mindful of how you approach your teachers. Engage teachers in a way that make them feel like you're interested in having a partnership with the parent, as opposed to seeing the teacher as your child's nemesis.
Mm.
We are absolutely engaged and are dedicated to ensuring our students have the best academic experience, and we work diligently trying to pull the best out of them. And so sometimes that energy is compromised when parents, view us as the nemesis. So, I always try to encourage parents to partner with me,
Mm.
because I want to see your student be successful. I don't know many teachers who get pleasure
Mhm.
out of students failing. So it's always good for parents to uh, engage teachers with positivity, and to not, and to really have a good relationship with the teachers, and to not wait until a child is failing to check in. Don't wait until little Johnny got an F to then start showing concern. If Johnny isn't an F student, start checking on Johnny when Johnny has a low B in the class or something. Don't wait, and don't wait until the end to start, freaking out about the grades or whatever, because if you wait until April to start checking on Johnny's grades and we have a month of school left, it's challenging to pull that thing all the way back, especially on the high school level. And I see it all the time with parents
Mm.
who, you know, they don't check their kids' grades often. And then in April, they realize little Johnny has an F. You got to stay on top, even when they get to the high school level, especially ninth and 10th grade. 11th grade year, they learn how to manage a little bit more. Most kids do. They start managing a little bit better. But that freshman and sophomore year, parents really need to stay on top of their students
Mhm.
and stay engaged as well. So, yeah, okay, it's delayed.
Mm. Can mm. Kenosha, information what information would you like to share with the state legislature? What do you need from the state legislature to demonstrate the support, the resources, the investment in education, being that you're on the front lines in that particular field? What do you need us to know from teachers?
Aside from needing more money, more, you know, providing us with professional development that's relevant to, more relevant professional development would definitely be an incredible investment, and having more pay. With two master's degrees. And again, like I said, just finished 18. This will be the end of my 18th year. And I work really hard. And the thing about education is there's no upward mobility. So I don't care how amazing I am. No one is going to walk into my classroom and promote me to principal because I'm amazing. And so because isn't much upward mobility in education, I do think that we need to be compensated, for what we do. And we work really, really hard. Most teachers I know, we put in an insane amount of hours during this shelter in place situation. I work probably 12
Mhm.
hours a day. Seriously, I work 12 hours a day, trying to ensure that my students have some sense of normalcy throughout this process,
In the classroom.
dedicated to their not just academic well-being, but to their emotional well-being too. And so I'm still very hands-on with my babies, because I think about those kids who are struggling because school is a safe place for them. And so I'm probably more engaged than most high school teachers, but I just
Mm.
that's just how I'm wired. I love my kids, and so I really engage them. I'm really intentional about engaging them during this era we're in with social distancing. So from a state perspective, again, just uh, of course we could always use more money and relevant professional development and professional development that is forward thinking, helping us with providing us with more technology resources, um, more opportunities and resources to go to conferences outside of the state, connecting districts with um, the need for our students to be successful. Like here in Northwest Arkansas, we have the largest school districts
Sure
in the
do.
state with Fayetteville, Springfield, and Rogers and Bentonville. Why isn't there like a major teacher conference for all of our districts together so that we can share the wealth of knowledge that exists amongst all of us teachers here? So I just think that there's a lot of things that could be done that would make us better together as a state for our students.
Mhm. Well, let me just circle back and just say thank you again so much, Kanosha, Mrs. Grigsby,
Well,
for all that you do for the students here in Northwest Arkansas, particularly those who attend Rogers High School. Thank you for just really great feedback for me as a candidate and being very intentional on the specific ways that I could help support all the educators here in Northwest Arkansas to not only show that we value your commitment and your work and your sacrifices here in Northwest Arkansas, but to also help elevate the educational experiences for all the students across the state. So thank you so much for that. And we will, of course, continue to stay connected because as everyone can tell, Kenosha has great ideas, great insight, and great feedback. So I want to make sure that that we stay connected individually, and that I continue to hit the mark as it relates to this campaign's support for education. And I just want to thank each and every one of you who joined today. Thank you so much for your grace. Thank you for joining, even though we were late. Thank you for staying. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support in trying to help me navigate through the technical challenges at the beginning.
thank
And
you.
thank you for sending other people towards the to the broadcast. Thank you for inviting them. Thank you for engaging with others in the chat. Thank you for sharing. I do think it is tremendously important to always have an attitude of gratitude. There are so many things that we can focus on, and we can focus on those things that didn't go well. We can focus on those things that didn't work according to plan, or those things that fell through the cracks. And there will always be challenges, but know that we are here and united as a community. We will rise to meet those challenges and to overcome those challenges together. That's what we did today, and that's what I know we
Mhm.
can do in November when it's time for us to vote. So thank you all so much for joining today. If you haven't received the emails to keep you updated on the campaign, please drop your email address here in the chat line so that we can make sure that you are kept up to speed with what's happening with the campaign. You can always go to our Facebook page, which is Ronetta Francis for Arkansas. You can go to our website, which is RonettaFrancis.org for more information. You can also go there to find out ways that you can volunteer to support this campaign with your time, your talents, and your treasures because we are still accepting donations. You've seen the crawl across the bottom on ways that you can connect to volunteer and to make donations as well. So for this, I will say thank you all again so very, very much for everything. Thank you for your support, and I look forward to connecting with you all again next week. Stay safe, be well.